let's go and talk about hiring. A great little opportunity. There was too many ads running on this page, so it reloaded. Safari told me this web page had to reload because there was too much going on. Now I've got to stop that before it goes on. Whatever. Okay. Yep. So, sorry. Get rid of that because that is not actually what we're talking about. The Twitter or new X on top of the building. But what we're talking about is hiring people. Because we spoke about firing. How do we hire? And there was this report about US firms, including Netflix, Amazon, etc., are offering jobs, AI jobs that pay up to $900,000. Now, if you go through, so there was, where was it? Let me get out of here. So this page has way too many ads on it. So yeah, it's really interesting that there's all this. The Hollywood actors are striking, writers are striking because of AI, and now all these companies are now going, "Yep, we're gonna go and invest in AI." So Netflix offers a job that for AI or for machine learning between 300 and 900,000. Amazon offering 340,000. That's not including bonuses. Who else was there? There was someone else that was offering at Walmart 288,000. Google, a lawyer offering 350. Actually, that's not too much for a lawyer at Google, I wouldn't assume, but that's not including bonuses. But it's interesting that this AI. And actually, I think it's quite interesting that one of the ad descriptions, the job listings, said, no college degree required. We just want someone to do AI. It's this merging market that is just absolutely incredibly just going gangbusters, and everyone's realizing the importance of it. So one thing that I do say to my clients when we're hiring, and we have actually gone through, a number of my clients have gone through a really tough time for hiring for the last couple of years. With COVID around, it became really hard to hire really good quality employees. Anyone, because obviously the government was handing out easy money. No one wanted to work. Everyone wanted to. And so it's really interesting that that hiring the right people is hard in a competitive market. And one thing I just said to my clients is sometimes you just have to offer more than the rest. That you just have to offer more money. Because sometimes, yes, it costs you a little bit more, but how much are you losing because you don't have that person in that position? How much is it costing your business? You know, the opportunity cost for not having someone in that role. And maybe we need to just have the reality that sometimes we need to pay more, and then that means we need to rejig our prices and stuff like that, maybe to be able to afford that. You know, it's part of the bigger picture. But Dr. Rod, what's your take on splashing out to try to get good talent?
Good idea. Simple. It's simply a good idea. And, you know, I don't have a problem with people earning a high income.
Mm-hmm.
If they're creating value within their organization, good on them, really. I mean, theologically, I'm more concerned about what they might do with their $900,000 a year, frankly. But this is, and honestly, I don't think this is inconsistent with the Bible either. That I don't see any evidence in the Bible that we should all be paid the same amount or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
The parable of the talents makes it fairly clear God's gifted everybody differently.
Mm-hmm.
We're not to be valued based on the value we represent to a company or anything like that.
No.
Of course, our personal value derives from the fact that we're created by and loved by God, and that's that. End of the story. So no, and again, obviously, I'm trained in economics. I understand how markets work, I understand there is a demand side and there is a supply side. And if supply is short, in this case, if workers with appropriate skills in the AI area are short, then their wage is going to go up. And good on them if there are people who can get those jobs. All I say is congratulations, good on you, but think carefully about what you do with the income that you earn. That's all I would say. And I actually wrote something up in my own prayer and Bible study this morning, which I ended up putting on our church Facebook page, where I say, listen, if you're earning a big income, by way of, say, profit if you're in business, or certainly salary, just remember in Proverbs 25, it says something there around about verse 16, I think it is. It says something about there, if you find honey, don't eat too much, because too much will make you sick. Okie doke.
That's
and
good.
Same with income. If you have too much income and do stupid things with it, it'll end up making you sick.
Yeah.
In more than one way, actually. So I think you need to apply a lot of wisdom in terms of what you do with your income. Be generous to yourself, your spouse, and your family. That's what Wesley said in his absolutely fabulous sermon on the uses of money. But after that, you have a look around and see what good you can do.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think that I see a lot of videos on YouTube about these athletes going broke. They're on $50 million a year contracts or whatever it might be, and they're
Well, the
going
honey's
broke,
made them sick, hasn't it?
Exactly.
They've had too much of the honey,
Yeah. And so my question to you then, as I'm trying to figure this out, because okay, the supply and demand right now, AI people are in need. There's not many of them, and these companies desperately need them because AI is it's just a part of what we're doing now, and all of these organizations need to get deeper in their AI to provide better services and better experiences. We pay someone $900,000 a year, but let's say in general terms, most people's salaries go up over time. But in 5 years' time, there'll be a lot more people that are AI, experts or technicians or whatever they want to call it, and therefore there'll be less demand.
Well, there might not be less demand, but there'll be greater supply.
Greater supply.
So
yes.
What I would expect is that in 5 years' time, it'll be pretty hard to get a $900,000 job as an AI creator.
Yeah. But what happens to the people that are earning that 900 now? Do you think that they will continue to, I don't know, because they're
not in the United
forefront or
States.
whatever?
No. Not if they're employed in the United States, because they don't have the same sorts of rigidities that you do in Europe and Australasia. So no. And the other thing too, of course, is that 900,000 or 300,000, whatever it is you start on, that's a base salary.
Yeah.
There are also bonuses. So I would expect that early on, there'll be fairly big bonuses, but later on, they'd virtually dry up. The other thing too, of course, is that if you become too expensive on $900,000 a year, guess what will happen?
Yeah.
You lose your job. And in any case, people with these kinds of skills, see, these kinds of skills are not company specific, they're not firm specific. And so those employers are what we call footloose. They're just as likely to accept a $100,000 higher offer at another organisation and just, make the transfer across. So this is how markets work. And on the whole, they work pretty well, actually, because they deliver things that contribute positively to human flourishing. I mean, I think, generally speaking, markets work very well. There are some areas in which markets don't work so well, but often when we observe markets working poorly, it's because some stupid government has intervened for political purposes.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my bias out on the table.
I think it's interesting. As an economist, I would assume you would lean more towards supporting what governments do, because you are an economist, but it's actually quite quite the opposite sometimes when you come out with it.
Oh no. Markets do pretty well most of the time.
Yeah.
But they're not going to deliver a good national defence force, for example. And certainly for the lower income countries, there's some argument for government getting involved in education and health as well. But once you get into a much higher income, I don't think there's a very strong case for government to be involved in much else other than defining and protecting private property rights and national defence. Most other things governments interfere in, they actually muck it up.
So hiring people, let's say focus on this. What would be some other strategies of attracting talent other than paying 900K plus bonuses?
Well, see, sometimes the income is a direct response to the balance between demand and supply, but sometimes it might have something to do with the toxicity of the workplace. So you might find it difficult to fill positions, not because there's a general lack of supply in that market, but because you're not a very good place to work for. So I think there are lots of things you can do. You need to make a workplace somewhere where people are actually happy to be.
Going back to that culture thing that we were speaking about before.
Partly, absolutely. It's cultural as well. But I don't think the focus, from our perspective as observers, I don't think our focus should be on how much money people are earning. It's more, is it good work? Are they producing a good as opposed to a bad that people are able to consume?
Yeah, I think that like what you were saying about the having a good work environment and things like that. I think that is actually you spoke about it from the negative, like we have to pay so much because it has a negative culture. I think on the alternative, there's one thing that I do work with a number of my clients on is we build such a positive culture that stands out in their industry that they've got people knocking down their doors because they're like, hey, we want to come and work for you because you've got a better culture. We hear people are happy working with you. We see what you're doing and we see what you're doing in the industry. And because they're a positive influence, when you do that, then you have a better standing and a better, I suppose, more attraction that people will actually come and want to work for you, and it's not about the money then. Because
look, surveys show that people would happily trade off a pay rise against a pat on the back, so to speak. I'm simplifying there, but the salary is only part of the overall work package. And the culture of the workplace is an important factor as well. And look, honestly, managers or owners can save themselves a lot of money actually by treating people well.
And one of the higher ranking reasons why people stay or leave is growth. The fact that they feel like they are actually growing as a person, they're being invested in, they're growing, they're learning new things, they're able to not only growth in promotion, but just growth in your own skills. If we're constantly providing our people opportunities to continue to grow and stretch themselves and things like that, they will be more fulfilled in their roles rather than just trying to be chasing the paycheck. Because
absolutely. Look,
when people are unfulfilled, all they're looking at is those dollars and going, is this worth it? And in most cases, no, it's not.
Well, look, one of the main reasons why people leave their place of employment is they don't get on with their manager. So they haven't had a good experience with their manager. I think, the key really is to recognise that we're dealing with people. And sometimes, when we've got a human resources department, we can focus on the resources rather than the human. And I think we need to be mindful of that. We're actually dealing with people. People have feelings. People's feelings matter. And people will often make decisions based on how they feel about things.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Hey, you've just watched an excerpt from the On the Cube Leadership podcast. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If it challenged your leadership or inspired you in some way, put a comment below. And if you want to watch the full episode or more content like this, check out our channel. And hey, consider subscribing while you're there.